today we're looking at this microphone, the HyperX Quadcast S, and honestly, this microphone came out in 2020, but yet I still see it all the time on Twitch streams, YouTube streams, TikTok, whatever the case. It is a very popular microphone, and that's partially because you can pick it up at your local Walmart, especially here in the States. Because you can, the accessibility of it makes it probably a really popular microphone to pick up. Today we're going to be taking a look at it. HyperX did send this over for me to review. However, they're not paying me, nor are they going to see this video beforehand. So they're not sponsoring today's video, but this video does have a sponsor, and it's Aura. We'll talk about them later in the video. All that out of the way, let's get unboxed. By the way, you're listening to the Shure SM7B running through the Rode Streamer X, just as a reference. But here's the Quadcast S. We're going to go ahead and unbox it. We'll plug it in, and we're going to be talking about their Ingenuity software, which is their kind of dedicated thing to be able to control all the RGB and stuff. I've actually never used a HyperX microphone. I've actually, well, let me rephrase that. I used one when I was at TwitchCon when they had one on a station, but I've actually never reviewed one here in the studio. I've never used one in like a personal application. So this will be my first kind of like test messing around with one, especially setting one up. But I know some people who have had them, and I think that they're nice looking microphones, and they make a box very difficult to get in. All right, as we open it up, HyperX has you covered. Got any issues, things like that. And the guy at HyperX was actually a really nice guy who sent it over. So love their team so far. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and put this over to the side. Let's get unboxed and see what comes inside the box. All right, a bunch of plastic. I wish they would start using maybe more eco-friendly packaging. Companies are getting into that now. What are we doing? It even says pull right there, and I didn't pull. Pull. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that was very hectic. All right, cool. So inside the box, we get kind of what I expected. Let's get all of this packaging out of the way. We're going to leave the manuals. Cool. We're going to leave the manuals, but we get kind of what I expected. So here's the HyperX Quadcast S in all of its glory, and I have to say it's a lot bigger than I expected in person, so take that as you will. Anyway, taking a look at it, it's not very heavy. I don't have like a scale or anything, but it's not very heavy. But I would say it's something lighter than like the SM7B or the Rode Pod mic. But it is definitely, I think it's metal, but everything else feels plastic on it. So that's why they're keeping the weight down. All right, let's talk about the stuff that's on the microphone. All right, let's talk about the stuff that comes in the box. So it looks like we get a USB A to C cable. So we have a USB A to C cable. We have an adapter to be able to put it on a mic stand, which we are going to use because we're going to use the Rode DS2 mic stand. Love this thing. It's probably the best mic stand on the market right now. So we are going to use this because it comes with a stand that's included. However, this is not an optimal distance. Like, for example, if I go back over to the cam, here you can see like here's the SM7B on a shock arm. This is the distance that I guess they're expecting you to use it. That's so far away for voice. I mean, that's 1.5 feet for me on the desk. So we are going to get it up and off the desk. I get why they wouldn't want to include like a really big stand in the box, but yeah, it's not what I anticipated. So on the back of this microphone, you have a dial. And this is what you're able to control between going through different polar patterns. And in this case, you have stereo, omnidirectional, cardioid, and then bidirectional. And it looks like out of the box, they put it on the cardioid setting, which is kind of like what most microphones have, where the pattern picks up from the front of the microphone and tries to reject from behind it, things like where your keyboard would. And we'll do that. We'll do a keyboard test. But these are really nice because you can do omnidirectional, which picks up all the way around in an orbit from the microphone. So you can kind of put it in any like direction you want, or if it's in a room, you can use it as a room mic. You also will get stereo, so you can actually get a full left and right and be able to see what that is. We'll see where that pattern is because it's interesting that they've got the grill marked out here, which I would consider the left of the mic. And then the right, I'm curious to see how well it's going to pick up. So we'll go through the different polar patterns. And then they have bidirectional, which is where it'll pick up from the front and then from the back, but reject the sides, which is really good if you're doing kind of an interview and you've got it in between two people. This is a really good way to do that. Yeah, looks like we've got a gain knob here at the bottom, which they have the dots, but it goes well past the dots before and after. So interesting choice there. And then on the back, which you can barely see through the stand, They have a USB-C connection and then a microphone connection, or not a microphone, a headphone connection for you to get, I would assume, direct monitoring, which we should be able to control all of that from their software, and we'll get into that in a second. Satisfying peel. Not really satisfying. All right, let's get it plugged up.
Data brokers will sell your information to spammers, scammers, or anyone who may want to target you. Your full name, email, health records, your address, everything is out there. That's why I've been using Aura, today's sponsor. Aura shows me exactly who's using my information and automatically submits opt-out requests so that this information can get out of their hands. Cleaning up this information not only prevents spam, but also protects me from hackers being able to use this information to gain access to social media accounts, bank accounts, and so much more. It's really easy to set up, and I don't have to download several different apps to be able to do things like VPN, antivirus, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and so much more. I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I value yours. So go to aura.com/darkencyrus to start your 14-day free trial now. Once again, thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it.
So you're currently listening to the HyperX Quadcast S, and all I've done is really plug it in. I haven't even downloaded the Ingenuity software yet, but this is just plug and play. This is what I would expect you to get if you plug this into like the PS4 or the PS5. And as well as onto the MacBook without getting software. I think this is what you would probably get on the bidirectional setting, and I'm speaking, I don't know, 5 inches away from the microphone right now. I've got the dial knob kind of on the first, between the first and second little dot on the gain, and I'm looking at that I'm around 10 decibels where I am, coming down to around -15 and spiking up to -5, depending on what I'm saying. So, so far, it seems like a really nice mic. I haven't even heard it yet. I love the way that it looks. The RGB comes out of box rolling like this. It does have capacitive mute, so I'll touch it. And when it mutes, it turns off the audio. So I'm just going to continue speaking, and I'm going to continue to mute and turn off the light, and that's how you'll know that it's muted. I bet you can customize that in the software, maybe make it a different color. We'll have to see. So it does have mic monitoring over the headphones. So I'm actually going to plug in this. This is the old, like, whatever it is, the Cloud 2s. I'm going to plug these in really quick and see what I hear. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, it does have direct monitoring. Okay, so, I mean, right now, it sounds pretty good. It sounds like it's rejecting. I'm snapping right behind compared to in front. It sounds like it has good rejection. All right, let's get this Ingenuity software downloaded and let's take a look at that. All right, so we're on HyperX's website, and here is the Quadcast S, and as you can see, the microphone says it's $125 on sale right now, but it's originally like $160. I think I saw it in Walmart for $130 or $40. So if you're wanting to pick one up local, you can go do that. But we're going to go ahead and see if we can find. It says right here, customizable via HyperX Ingenuity software. So we need to find that software. So at the very top, which I should have been able to see, here's the Ingenuity software. Once I click it, interesting. I guess it's everything for all of their products. We'll just go ahead and download, and I'll get this installed. Oh no, it has to install via the Microsoft Store app. Blech. Can we just have dedicated downloads that doesn't have to come through Microsoft, please? HyperX, I know that this might make it seem like simple or something. You can have it pre-installed on systems, but can we just not do this, please? That would be great. So this is the HyperX Quadcast S inside the Ingenuity software, which you should be able to be hearing right now. For some reason, I wasn't capturing this audio in OBS, but now we should be able to be hearing it, and hopefully that's working. Something I wanted to go ahead and show you here was some of the settings they have for volumes right here. This headset volume right here is tied to Windows. I just tested that. You can see it at 68. If I pull it up to 86, you can see it pull up to 86. So just know that anything you control here, as well as the mic monitoring, this actually does impact what you hear in your head for what you want to have. You can actually turn it off if you want, if you don't want to hear that monitoring from the microphone. You can also do your mic volume here to control, but it doesn't change what it does on the actual device. So I'm going to take this, and if I turn it up and down on the dial for the gain for the microphone, that doesn't change that number. So just know that they're not tied. I just bumped the mic, by the way, just FYI. This is just for Windows audio sound stuff. One thing that did happen was it looked like the microphone got a little quieter when I downloaded the software, and it sounds like it tried to control the mic volume down to like 82 instead of the 100. I just bumped it back to 100, and now it's back to the level that I was recording at earlier, so I'm not really sure what that's about. But anyway, all of that aside, these just seem like little small quirks, but we actually can choose the polar pattern from here, and you can see that they have the different patterns in the back. So you can see you have the cardioid, which is best for podcast streaming, voiceovers, and instruments, which I do agree. You have, let me go ahead and twist it. There we go, bidirectional, so that's face to face, that's having someone behind or in front. So it should be a very similar sound from behind, and we'll do a full test of these in just a moment. We have omnidirectional, which should pick up sound from everywhere, and I just heard how much more rim sound is happening. So yeah, totally picking up everything. And then we have stereo, which actually does sound like stereo. So that should be peaking the right, and that should be peaking the left. So it is stereo, and it actually sounds like it's working pretty well as I'm going in between and going around the microphone. Look, I'm over here on the right, just the right side. I'm hearing it more on the right side, and then over here on the left side, hearing it more on the left. That's interesting that it's actually working really well. Let me go back over to the cardioid setting. That is not a silent click, by the way, so I would not be changing that while you're live unless you're muted. All right, let's take a look at lights. All right, let's take a look at lights. You can see right now it just changed to full RGB. You can actually have it on just a wave. You can add and more effects. We have solid, blink, cycle, light, wave, and VU meter, which I'm assuming is voice activation. So as I talk to it, it's going to actually turn the light on or off. That's pretty cool. We have lightning, which will actually just make different sounds or different lights based upon a specific color we do, and it'll just pop. We can do blink, which is interesting. Cycle between a couple of different colors, I would assume. And then we obviously have wave. That's the one we were looking at earlier. We can do a selection of lights. We can actually change all the colors. We can change the speed. There's a lot of customization here, and I think you can link this if you have a whole bunch of other HyperX products. You can make them all link, and it does have save to microphone. So I would assume that even if I don't have this software up, I can hit save and not have to launch the Ingenuity software and have all of those settings applied to the microphone. It looks like there's presets, preset 1 and 2, and a bass. We have options. We can do lights for live or lights for muted. So if I'm talking right now, like for example, you can see on screen on my camera, the lights are off, but when I mute it, it should turn the lights on. So yeah, so as I'm talking, yeah, that's interesting. So it's reverse of what I would think it would be. So live is when you would want the lights muted when you want it off, whatever the case. You can turn the brightness up and down, which is interesting. Let me go back to the camera here. So that actually works out pretty good. You can actually choose a selection of different colors if you wanted to. Interesting. I think this is a pretty neat software, and you can do light sync obviously against all of your other devices, which is pretty cool. So looking at the microphone in Windows settings, we do have a 16-bit option, but we don't have 24-bit. So those of you who are curious about if this does 24-bit, it does not, just 16,000, and you can choose between 48K and 44.1. Which I recommend you doing 48K. That's just my choice or my opinion. So, all right, so let's go ahead and do a sound test of all the different settings, and I'll do a read. All right, so here's the sound test. We're on the bidirectional. I'm talking directly into it. This is me about I'm about 1.5 feet away, and this is me about 2 feet away talking into the capsule. All right, this is me coming back up to the front of it. I'm currently still on the cardioid setup, so let me go ahead and put my keyboard behind this. Let me turn my keyboard off so I don't put a whole bunch of keystrokes. These are reds, and I'm just typing on some red switches. So we'll go ahead and be able to see what you think of that. This should be rejecting them pretty good from the background. There were some plosives. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Pa 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 pa. Actually sounds like it's doing pretty good. I see some mesh. A little bit of like foam in there, and then I do see the capsules through the RGB, but it seems like it's rejecting it pretty well. All right, let's try the other ones, and this should, let me go ahead and talk around it. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. That's me going all the way around to the back of the microphone, coming back around to the front. All right, let's switch to. All right, now this one is the bidirectional. So the front of the mic is facing me, the back of the mic is here. So as I go around to the side of the mic, this should start rejecting. And then as I come back around to the back of the microphone, this should start having clear sound again because this is bidirectional. So this is what you would do in putting it in between two people, is how you're going to get that sound. It still sounds like this side is the clearest because I spun it around and I don't think that it sounded as good. So back here, this is me kind of close to that microphone from behind. Testing 1 2 3. The sensor doesn't, or the actual like sound doesn't sound as good back there. All right, let's try another one. All right, so this is on omnidirectional. This means that it should, in theory, be the same sound as I go around this microphone at any of the distances. But I will say, as I'm going around, I'm getting that effect, that like screen door, not screen door effect, but I'm getting this, I can hear it going in between the different capsules, and I'm getting a different sound from each one. So if you're using this as a room mic, I don't know if I would say that this is the best solution, because it still seems like you're getting the best sound directly from in front of it. Because as I go around to the side, and even if I keep my like same format as I'm doing this, it just sounds slightly different. All right, let's go to stereo. Oh, stereo freaks me out because I'm in the right side of my ear right now and the left side of my ear. That's cool. I love stereo for like music recordings and using instruments and stuff, but I don't know about for live production. I don't know. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'm in the right side, going around to the back of the microphone. Now I'm going around to the left side, going around to the left side, the back of the microphone. And now I sound like I'm in the back, very back, very back, very back, very distant away from what's happening, and now I'm back in front of the microphone. So yeah, so those are all of the settings. If it was me and I was a streamer or a content creator, and I was a solo, I would totally just stay on. If it was me and I'm a solo creator, I would totally just stay on the cardioid, which is this setting, which is where you get the rejection from behind. So yeah, the other settings are really nice, and depending on your situation, this could be a really good microphone. Other microphones do this optional changing thing, like the Blue Yeti mics, the Fifine K690 microphone, which is much cheaper than both of these mics. Both do that 4-polar pattern selection. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a read of Sun Tzu's Art of War, and I'm actually going to put up some microphones from a previous video that I did. That all of these are raw samples and everything, but it's things like the Rode NT1 Signature, the K669C, some other microphones that are also condenser microphones like this one, instead of dynamic microphones, so that you can compare them against. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war then is governed by 5 constant factors, to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline." I recorded that 6 times because I kept making mistakes, and the last one still had a mistake, and I'm leaving it in. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war then is governed by 5 constant factors, to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline." Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war then is governed by 5 constant factors, to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline." I also just want to mention that I'm currently around like -10, like I was mentioning dB-wise earlier for this microphone, but this has a really low noise floor. So when I stop, I'm going to boost the dB, but I'm going to tell you what it's at when I stop talking compared to what my room is. So I'm currently at like -53 when I'm not talking, which is very low for microphones in my room. Like that's a pretty good noise floor. That's interesting. So this microphone has a really nice noise floor. All that out of the way, let's just talk about the microphone itself, what I do like, what I don't like, and my first impressions. I'm probably going to use this microphone for a couple of streams and maybe even come back and revisit it later for another kind of like update video. But out of the box, this microphone, at least to my ears, to my headset right now, sounds really nice. I do like the fact of the RGB and the software, and it looks like you can save everything so I don't have to constantly open the software. And it did work just out of box. I didn't have to have the software for this to work, which was also a really nice touch. I do love the white aesthetic. I know that it comes in black, and I do like the fact that the mute is just capacitive, just like the Wave 3, a whole bunch of the other ones that also do that, which is just really nice. I don't like the fact that it's necessarily on top, but that's just personal preference. I know that a lot of people turn this one sideways and just tap it from the side. I'm not sure how I would necessarily use it.
But that's probably whatever the case is. I do like the fact that there are choices for the polar patterns on the back, but I also don't think that that's necessarily required, at least for content creation space where you're just doing solo work. I think that getting a microphone with a cardioid pickup is probably just fine. You don't have to have all of these options. And in some cases, having too many options gives you so much more opportunity to make mistakes. Leave it on something that you shouldn't have it on, etc. But either way, I think HyperX, this is a beautiful microphone. I think it looks really nice. I do think it is big. It makes a statement, and obviously the RGB is going to be something that is visible on stream and does look nice. As far as the hype around this product, I think that having it locally accessible to where you don't have to order it online and you can go pick it up in a store is a really nice piece there. But if you want to pick one up and you want to ship it online, I will leave a link down in the description. That'll be an affiliate link. Yes, I get some commission back on anything you order on Amazon, but it doesn't make any extra cost for you. Just thank you if you do that. Please order from there. It supports the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you to HyperX for sending out this microphone for me to take a look at. And yeah, if you want to take a look at a microphone that is pretty awesome for the budget price of only $50, you should check out this video here. And if you want to see a whole gamut of 11 microphones tested against each other so you can make a choice, you should check out this video right here. Thanks, guys. I hope to see you in the next one. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum.